So today's the second session. Those of you that came already, you kind of already calibrated your brain to know what we're doing. And it's like, oh, okay, you see it again, it'll start to come back. If this is the first time, then it's all kind of new stuff. And it's like, well, what are we doing? So I kind of walk you through this as we go. So the idea is right off the bat, we want to kind of get our thought and focus into us, our body. And like I said last week with Pastor Terry, it's like often people come into the room for the congregation, for the service, but maybe they're not really here. They're thinking about other stuff, and to put your mind in the present moment where you're at, that's hard, it's difficult. So that's what we try to get started with. And it comes from putting our body in specific positions that make us think about what we're doing. So if you start with your feet together, that's our zeroed out reset spot. Go with your feet shoulder width. And you just like you're lining up your shoulders and your hips. Those don't really change, but your knees and your toes, you could have a multiple amount of distance between them. So we're trying to stack the shoulders, the hips, and more importantly, the knees and the toes. And you take your waist and let it sink or bend just slightly. So you feel like your center of gravity, which is right about where your navel is, maybe about a fist below, you feel like your center of gravity is more stable. You're not gonna be standing here and you're rigid. That's not the idea. We want to be relaxed and comfortable. So our knees slightly bend also. I'm not trying to bend my knees. I'm not trying to do this. I try to sink from my hips, and the knees will naturally bend a little bit. All right? So this kind of gets us our beginning position here where we're stable. I can start to talk very fast if I don't take little breaks in there to slow down. So we're going to bring our arms in front. They're going to rise up so as if to make a heart shape, like a Valentine heart shape. And coincidentally, it finishes in front of our real heart. And then we push down. So it ends up looking kind of like a heart-shaped lollipop. Here's the heart shape. And then this would be like the stick going downward. So all this is very deliberate. I'm not just flailing my arms to do it. The arms coming up is to help us expand our lungs so we can take in a deep breath. Arms coming down together kind of compresses our lungs slightly, helps us to do a real big exhale. Arms up, chin slightly up. Arms down, chin slightly down. So if you've ever seen paramedics working on somebody, it's like a person's unconscious, they put the hand under the head and then the airway is more open. So that helps us get more air into the lungs. Keep your head straight, that's fine, but you'll notice I'm breathing deeper when the chin is slightly up. Breathing down, doesn't matter so much. We're trying to take in more than we put out. So also when our chin goes up, our lower back, it's easy to arch the lower back. When our chin drops, it's easy to round, like not just the lower back, but the whole spine. So it gets this wave of movement. Arch your back. Round your back. So again, this is all very deliberate. We're starting at the top, we're gonna finish in our toes. And there's probably like 10 different things that I give you to think about. And you're like, okay, gotta do this, gotta do that. And you're like, you can only hold so many thoughts in your head at a time. Actually, it's about 7, plus or minus. It's actually a whole scientific, it's a scientific concept. It's called the magic number 7. And we juggle 7 thoughts at a time. We do good. And sometimes it can go up to 9 or down to 5, and you can only juggle so many. So magic number 7. So here we go. We got the hands, we got the head. Our eyes are heavy. Relax your eyes. Let the eyelids become heavy. Let your focus soften. So that's 3 things right there, right? We're arching the back. We're rounding the back. So you know what I forgot to do is to turn on my little background music. Last time I said that I wouldn't use it because I was talking more. Today I'm going to try to do more exercise than talk. You guys get the abbreviated version. So listen to that. We want it subtle enough that it's relaxing, not loud so much that it disturbs our nervous system. So that's a very key part right there. Soft music is good for our nervous system. So here again, we got hands up, chin up, eyes relaxed. Try and breathe through your nose as much as you can, in and out through your nose. So you gotta keep your mouth shut. I can't do this and keep my mouth shut. It's just, I gotta talk and explain what we're doing. So I bring the tongue to the roof of my mouth when my arms are up. And then my mouth, still closed, the tongue goes to the bottom of the mouth. So the tongue is up and down like a gate, and it keeps our mouth moist. It activates our saliva glands. So now we're at about 5 things that I've asked you to remember. That's okay. No quiz. Inhale. Open and expand. This would be close and contract. What am I opening and closing? The lungs, but really the diaphragm. I'm trying to move this muscle that's kind of umbrella shape. And when I bring my arms up, my stomach goes a little bit out. And then when I come to here, my stomach, I pull the muscles back. And that helps push more of the breath out. Okay, so now we're gonna take our hips. And your hips are gonna shift somewhat forward as you come up. And then we go flat on our feet by making our hips go back more. And if we push even further, we end up with the weight on our heels. So shift a little forward, become flat on your foot, move your hips back, put the weight on your heels. So right there, you're gonna start to feel, like I said last week, you're establishing or reestablishing a relationship with your feet and how your toes and your ankles and your calves, everything's kind of connected to your balance, really, and your stability. So this little shifting thing might seem kind of easy for us. Some people, not so much, depending upon what their level of activity's been. So we're gonna do 3 more of these. Shift forward, breathe in. Shift back and breathe out. A little bit deeper each time. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. So to finish that up, so we can say we're done with it, instead of going up, I'm gonna now go down. And like I'm splashing water, if you will, splash, and then come up to here, and then a little bit of a twist. And then I look up to the left, and then I bring my chin down. So I gotta do the right side. So again, splash, twist, chin up to the right, and you're gonna feel maybe in your neck, your upper back perhaps, and then down. We'll do one more. Splash, twist, look straight up. As much as you can look up. I'm just gonna turn, and then breathe down and out and look down. So that's kind of like a way to finish. It's like, okay, we're done with that. It's like, you don't have to keep lingering in your brain thinking about what we just did. It's like, oh, moving on to the next thing. But that's a really good exercise in itself. All these little gestures are all about getting your blood to flow more to your fingertips and your toes when we start doing more stuff with our toes, because the parts farthest from our heart, being our fingertips, our toes, top of our head, are the areas that will get less circulation as we age. All right, so that's what that stuff is. A little flick, a little coil. Look at my fingertips, how they change color. Yours will do the same thing. And then the next stretch, you know, both sides, you might even hear it, you know, like in your ear, like stuff crackling and popping. And then you feel the tension dissolve as your arms drop. So it's a really good exercise just to kind of get you back into your body. And whatever was easy, okay, you can acknowledge that in your thoughts, like this, you know, it's kind of easy, I can do all that. Or if it's difficult, you know, the balance part or your neck, like, oh, it doesn't go that far, then right away you're kind of thinking about it. And hopefully if you do it more, those areas will loosen up. That part of the neck right there, you have seven vertebrae in the top of your neck, right? Most people don't exercise them until they injure them. And it's like, oh, now I gotta do exercises up and down and twist. So this is kind of preventive maintenance. Do a little neck stretch every day. A couple minutes here and there, and it adds up. Okay, any questions so far? My returning people are experts, so look to them for guidance. They've done it one time. No, the only thing, if you've already done it, it's you might be a little more at ease because you know kind of what we're doing, but it's always the first time. It's like, oh, what's new? You know, like I say, we're like making a new recipe today. It's like, what are we making? You know, it's like a little bit of anxiety. So hopefully we relax as we're doing this and just kind of go with it. So the next one we're going to do, again, review, feet together, sink down, and now instead of just separating, see if you can make a half circle with your toes and then come flat. So it's, again, very easy just to move your foot out, but to sink down and make a conscious effort to do a half circle requires a little bit more thought of what your body's doing. That too. So you can even just practice that, doing it back and forth, side to side. That's just how we get started with this particular set. So then the hands are going to float up. And there's a little bit of a shift forward on the ball of your foot. Kind of like you're poking with your fingertips. And then your arms are going to sink. And you kind of shift back to your heels again. So just that forward motion and me saying light, these feel light. When I say they're going to feel heavy, nothing changes other than you thinking about it. And that's actually a whole type of therapy. They call it autogenic therapy. And it's like, okay, let's sit down, let's relax. Let's try to make ourselves feel cool. And then you'll start to feel the air conditioning. And then 5 minutes later, I say, okay, let's kind of get worked up a little bit. Feel your heart increase. And it's like you can change these things just by thinking about it or suggesting it. So this is all about you trying to feel like, okay, my tension, it's going away because I'm just so light. And then the heavy part, I'm just sinking, I'm comfortable, but I'm very stable. So you kind of teeter-totter between the two, right? So this is pushing, but we also call that up. This is pulling, and obviously it's going to be down. It's the opposite. So now I spin, like I'm spinning a beach ball. And I end up by my nose with my thumb, and my pinky finger on my left hand's by my navel. Relax your shoulders, because we're not going to hang out like this. That's not a good look, okay? This is more relaxed. Look at how much more I can drop the shoulders. So I'm going to shift my weight to my left leg, and then my hands go to the left. So it's kind of like a wave. I go from my feet, it's not really my hips, it's my feet pushing to the ground, and my hips shift, and then the arms are trailing behind. So we got to go the other way, because that'll be the opposite. So now this left hand comes by my nose, my right hand pinky's by my navel, I relax my shoulders, I shift to the right, and now my hand reaches to the right. And then we come back to the center, again, holding onto a beach ball, and it's like we're rolling it down. So I know you're like, okay, how many of these are we going to do? It's 5. So there's like a set number. It's like, okay, we're going to do 5, so you kind of know what to expect. So this is 1, and back is 2. This whole thing going this way, feet, waist, arms, all of that is 3. Complete opposite is 4. And then back to the center, that's 5. And then we're ready to start again. So again, now you're like recalibrating your brain. It's like, okay, we got 5. I only got to worry about 5. And actually one of them you do twice, just 1 on each side, right? So it's like, oh, I got to remember 4 things. So again, back to those numbers. You can only juggle so many thoughts in your head at a time. So we're going to do 5. So this will be inhale. My lungs are somewhat open. Heavy and down, that's exhale. This part here is open, so that's a good time to inhale. You do your shift. This squish, you start to twist your spine and your organs, and the lungs get a little twist. Good time to breathe out. Back to here. Breathe in. Lungs are wide open. Breathe out. Little squish, little twist. Right here. Lungs are wide open. Breathe in. Bring the ball down. Breathe out. So there's not much of a difference between here and here as far as your lungs go, but it keeps us with a balance. And what I talked about last week a little bit was the yin and yang symbol. And often people see that and like, oh, it's Taoism, it's a religion. I think of it more of a philosophy. And with this, it's very relative. It's all opposites. So like if there's going to be an exercise where my arm goes up here, my other arm has to probably do this. If I'm going to do this on one side, I got to do that on the other side. So it's actually very binary. It's like you got to do one or the other. If I'm going to lift this leg up, sooner or later, we're going to lift the other leg up. So what it does is it creates, from that symbol, it's balance. It's supposed to be 2 fish. It's like 2 fish. you know, a light colored and a dark light and dark colored fish, and they kind of come together in harmony. And that's what all this stuff is. You do one side, you gotta do the other. If we're gonna breathe in deep, you gotta exhale deep. You know, it's all balance. Any questions on this stuff? Like I said, I can get talking. So today was not supposed to be a talking class as much as a review and get everybody kind of going on it again. So this is referred to as the 5 directions. We can, you know, map that out. You got north, we got south, you guessed it, what's coming next? We got west, east. 5th direction is the center. It's stable. The center doesn't change, it just turns, right? So that's the stable. So if we think of this a little more philosophically, we got metal. This is a poking, so it's a metal spear, if you will. This is pulling, like you're pulling down and back, so that's wood, like a tree branch. If you ever go hiking with your wife and she pulls the branch and she lets it, no, nobody would do that. You know, the branch, it's tension. I've probably done it to her more than she did it to me. So then this fluid movement from the feet to the waist to the arms is very like fluid, very watery. So that's water. The opposite of water, in this case, is fire. It's exactly the same, just the other side. And then earth. Very solid and stable, down to earth. And we've heard these things. It's like there's all this little philosophy in Tai Chi that's actually throughout our society and our culture. It's like, oh, this makes sense, you know? So this is a pushing, that's metal, pulling, flexibility of a tree, wood, but flexible with tension. Look at this, feet, waist, arms, very watery. Complete opposite, fire. Okay, we gotta get stable, we gotta get solid, we're back to earth. So that like philosophy part is what puts it into like a mind, body, and spiritual practice. And spiritual, I talked about last week more on a awareness, putting your mind into what we're doing in the room. So the first physical part is just, you know, getting your body moving. That's very physical, just move your arms and legs. The mental part was trying to make things work the way like, okay, this is supposed to be shoulder high, poking, light. Now I'm heavy, I'm pulling. Heavy, that's mental. You're engaging your mental processes. The spirit part is, okay, this is watery, it's a theme. This is fire, you know, fire can kind of flicker. And then grounding. So spirituality in this sense with Tai Chi, it's about awareness. It's like your body is heavy like lead, you're light like a feather. It's an awareness. It's nothing mystical or connected to religion or anything. It's you knowing what you're doing. Any questions? Anybody warm? No? Cold? No? Nothing? Everybody's just perfect. So sometimes when we do this, and I do all these little hand gestures, you'll see my hands, the fingertips change, but my hands will also get warm because that's the stuff farthest from our heart. So my hands might get warm and sometimes even clammy if the temperature is right with the air conditioner. So they're kind of warm and clammy. And then the feet. My feet are warm. Well, I got shoes on, I got socks, I'm moving my feet. It makes sense, they're gonna get warm. If I keep my mouth shut, hard to do when I'm teaching, my mouth stays moist. So those are the 3 indicators, not just that you're alive. It's like, you know, touch somebody's hand and it's cold like a dead fish, that's not good. It's Tai Chi will make that happen. Warm fingers, warm toes, mouth moist, if you do what we're doing. If your mouth is open the whole time, shallow breaths will make your mouth dry out, make me cough. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. So we did one exercise, which I refer to as the heart-shaped breathing exercise. It's basically one exercise. We just did 5 different things. Okay, you know, one of them repeated. So the next thing we're gonna do is 8. How many fingers do I got? I gotta make sure. 8, right? 8 exercises. So we're again gonna start here, we're gonna take a deep breath, just like we did a moment ago, but this one is kind of designed to clear our thought. Okay, we're doing something different. So this goes out, here's my little half circle. Shift a little from right to left so you feel your center of gravity. where your navel is, and then I shift again to the right so that I can turn this left hip. I'm going to turn the whole hip towards that corner. Your corner is a different corner because you're standing sideways, right? So I shift back, and what we ideally want to do is get to where our feet are parallel with more weight on the back leg. I take my hands, and here's the nose and navel thing we just did. Drop your shoulders. So now we're going to sink down so as to get the heel to touch the ground. Reach the heel out a little bit more, and then to the side. So that's really supposed to be one smooth movement. You go from here, little like a circle, if you will, half circle. Yeah, there's that balance. So here, let's do this real quick. Seeing that I got a little gesture there, I got to adjust now. It's called reading the room. It's like, oh, there's a reaction. I got to change something. So that balance thing, forget about your arms for a moment. Here's our foot, 45 degrees. Other foot's 45 degrees. Here's the weight. So I want to go from my heel, like on my left side or my left shoulder, to my right shoulder. So how do I get there? It's a triangle. I go from toes, heel, heel, and then I shift my weight forward. So we can keep doing this and like walk, and it's actually a good drill if you have a hard time with balance. Problem is you might fall over. So you know, have something nearby if you need to. So we start here, I make a triangle, and then I put my foot down. So to keep going, I shift back, turn the front foot, knee and hip. Now I'm ready to do the other side. Now I step with the heel, heel, shift. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So if you guys all face this way, we can do it the same direction. You get center stage. So here's my 45 degrees. I'm sunk on my back leg. Go from the heel, make a triangle, and then I shift forward. So my feet should be about as wide as my shoulders are. And the back foot's turned on an angle. So I want to go forward. I shift back, turn my front hip, bring that foot forward. Step with your heel, put it down. I can do one more and then I'm going to run out of room here. Go from the left shoulder, right shoulder, and then down. So if we do it very mechanically, that sometimes is more awkward because you're like having to balance and hold it. It's really called a C-step, backward C, depending on which side you're doing. So it's just kind of like this. Who's going to walk like that? That would be a Monty Python silly walking. I don't know if you've ever seen that in years past, but they did all kinds of weird gestures. That's actually used now as an exercise method. I don't know if you folks know what I'm talking about. Monty Python, like 30 years ago, did this silly walking skit. And John Cleese, YouTube, look it up. It's really cool. But John Cleese would do this, and then it would all of a sudden be like, and they would have like 3 or 4 guys doing these walks, and they had a contest, like who would win the silly contest, silly walking contest. People have figured this out, that by making your body do uncomfortable and weird things, it actually makes your balance better. And neurologically, it makes you think more, because I got to be creative to come up with the next like weird thing. You got to look at it. It's on YouTube. It's hilarious. And then you'll come back and go, that's what we were doing at Tai Chi class. Okay, so now we're going to put that back into that chunk right there. So here is my little half circle. Here's how I shifted to get to that. That's called empty stance, by the way, because your foot's empty. Here's the ball, heel to heel here. Okay, I'm set. My center of gravity is low. Take that ball and squish it and turn it. And now you're going to kind of push it away from you. And we call this ward off because this circle right here, it's like I'm holding the beach ball again. My hands are a little bit different. That's keeping something away from you. Ward off. Then the hands are going to go like this, like you're holding a beach ball, small little beach ball, and kind of flick it. And then you shift your hips. So I went from my front hip to the weight being on my back hip, and the ball rolls back all the way to my left side. Catch a beach ball again. Put your hand by your pulse. So my spine is kind of twisted in relation to where my hips are at. So I shift back to the right leg, I bump with my shoulder, I poke with my elbow, and then by the time I finish, my hands press like this. So this is kind of like a wheel that's going, horizontally, but it keeps something away. That, you're like splashing water at somebody, you're very mean, splashing water in my face, and then you roll the ball back. Now I'm kind of wound up like a spring, so on the way back, it's again the shoulder, elbow, wrist. The hands, again, kind of do like a flick. You're really getting obnoxious, flicking water at somebody. Drop your elbows, come all the way back to your hips. Push with your back leg, and away. All right. So I said 8 exercises. All that explanation seemed like probably 100 things going on, right? So let's break it down again, just kind of we're going to get to 7 of them. So this doesn't count until here. This is really where we start counting. So this is 1, ward off. 2, roll back. All of this, 3 is just the shoulder, that's what we call it, shoulder. 4, elbow. 5, press. All of this is pull, that's 6. 7. So this should look kind of like a W. If your thumbs were touching, it'd be a W, but we're a little bit apart and the shoulders relax. Okay, so we're just gonna shift back and do it again. Inhale, exhale for ward off. Flick. Inhale, exhale for shoulder, elbow, press. Flick. Inhale for pull, exhale for push. Okay, now you think you got this down. You guys are all experts. Turn like your right foot and your hands are connected. And now we're going to do the other side. So now I'm 45 degrees to the corner with my legs. Here's the beach ball. Here's that funky little step with the heel. I took the ball, I spun it. There's ward off. There's our splash. Roll back as you come to your back hip. Catch the ball, shoulder, elbow, press, flick and pull, push. All right, we're done. We're done for today. We did a great job, folks. No, your mind is like racing. Like, oh, what are we doing here? What did we just do? To just stop abruptly would be a disservice to you. It's like running that 5K or 8K, whatever. What K? How many K? You're running a 5K and you just stop dead and you're like, your body wants to keep going. So we got to ease out of it when we do get to that point. I was just playing with you folks. Okay, so back to what we're doing. Little review. Here is the 5 directions. Up, down. Shift to the left. Shift to the right. Back to the center. All right, right from here, shift, adjust, so your feet are 45 degrees, catch. Step with the heel, take a deep breath. As you shift forward, exhale. Do a little splash, roll the ball back, inhale. Catch the ball, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So I want to get to the other side. I shift the weight to my left leg. That foot came up because it's light. Turn it with your hands. When you get over to here, if you're not on a 45-degree angle, just cheat, just adjust your feet. Now we're back to here. Relax your shoulders. Step with your heel. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Splash, roll the ball back, breathe in, catch the ball, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and breathe out. Flick, elbows down, pull back, breathe in, push, and breathe out. So we got to go to the other side. So I shift my weight, that foot became lighter, I turn it. Again, if I'm not on the corner, adjust your feet, catch the ball. So just focusing on slowing down and breathing deep. So it's inhale, exhale. All of this stuff right here, this is kind of relaxing my shoulders. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So you get the other side, I shift, turn, adjust if you need to, catch. Shoulders are always going to try to stay relaxed. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So we shift. It's almost like my hands are doing a double wave. You know, one wave, it's not enough. I got to wave two hands. I really want you to know that I'm waving, right? So the hands kind of go together. And then they catch. So again, lungs and chest are kind of open, so that's a good time to breathe in. I'm kind of squishing, I breathe out. Here, I am opening my lungs a bit, but then I hold it for a second so I can let it all out here. Definitely opening my lungs, breathe in, squish and breathe out. All right? Hey, you see what I'm doing? Two hands, not just one, got a double wave. And then catch. Relax those shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So I'm going to just come back to the front here, bring my feet again, about shoulder width, and go back to that first thing, the 5 exercises. So again, I'm trying to get you guys doing it slower and breathing hopefully slower, but if you feel like you need to breathe again, don't wait and turn purple. No, don't do that. Breathe in, and breathe out. Relax your shoulders. Always relax your shoulders, especially at the end. Whatever tension you have here, when you breathe out, let your shoulders kind of drop. And breathe in, definitely letting my shoulders drop, and breathe out. So right from the 5, we're gonna go back to the 8. Relax your shoulders. And breathe in, and breathe out. And breathe in, and breathe out. Shoulders are tense, right? Because you're kind of engaging them. But here I have an opportunity to drop my shoulders. And breathe out. Time to turn, shift, double wave, catch the ball. Step with the heel, push, roll back. Shoulder, elbow, press with the wrists, pull, push. Anybody need a break? Let's take a break. So to finish up for now, to take a break, we do this. Splash again, twist again, look up, take a deep breath. Like you're in a pool, you have a ball, you're pushing it under the water, breathe out as you push down. So each one, we do it a little slower and a little bit deeper. Push the breath out. Third one, straight up with our head. Deep breath, our airway's nice and open. We get down, we're starting to breathe out. Can lock your knees and elbows just for a second or so, and then relax your knees and elbows. So that, again, like I said at the very beginning, it kind of like closes the exercise, and it doesn't have us like we're running the marathon and we just like abruptly stop. It kind of eases into it. Why don't you folks all grab a seat for a minute or two? Or 4 or 5, whatever. If you want to stand, that's fine too. So the other thing with the gesture here, if you don't exercise a whole lot, or if this is a new type of activity for you, all of this movement with our toes and ankles and all this stuff, it might be drawing blood to the lower body. You know, circulation. You're getting the circulation, but it's got to come back too. As we age, everybody gets a little older, the arteries and the veins, arteries away, veins too. The veins coming back, the valves that keep the blood coming back get weaker. So that's why sometimes people, as they get older, their ankles are more swollen, they're holding water and blood edema, right? So all that stuff, when we just stand up and we're ready to like finish or go on to the next thing, sometimes the blood and oxygen is not up here as much. So this little gesture with the hands gets the blood moving back to the hands and arms, and then the breath, you kind of slow it down. You do a couple of those exercises. Now you're engaging some muscles, your back, your neck, your shoulders, upper back, your neck muscles. So it helps bring the oxygen back up so you don't get lightheaded. Sometimes people will do this and it's like, wow, my legs are kind of feeling bloated or really tired, and then they just stand up. And the blood isn't coming up real easily. So these little gestures help bring it back up. And hopefully it gets more blood and oxygen back to the brain. So any questions on what we've done? Everybody's doing fantastic, I can tell. Nobody, fell over, didn't hear anybody.
What are the names of these motions if I want to go look and find diagrams?
So there's the English names, which I focus on mostly, just, push, pull, shift left, shift right, ward off, all those. Those are the common ones. Then there's the Chinese ones, which now, okay, we gotta learn another language. So I don't focus on those as much. So if you type in on the internet, just type in Tai Chi 5 directions, that'll come up. If you type in Tai Chi 8, just 8 will probably work, but if you type in Tai Chi 8 energies or 8 arm movements, the lower body didn't do much. It just kept shifting back. So it's really the arms, that's what that is. If you put it together collectively, you can type in Tai Chi 13. It was the 5 and the 8, and it's like, oh, there it is. Everybody has a little different presentation with it, but for the most part, it's like, yeah, that's the alphabet. That's the alphabet of Tai Chi. If you can do these 8, the 1 at the beginning isn't really that, but the 5 and the 8 is what the alphabet is to do the longer sets. So I will demonstrate what a longer set looks like, just so you folks can kind of see where it goes to. Little children, they learn the alphabet first, right? You're little children when it comes to Tai Chi in some ways, right? You don't just throw a book at them. It's like, here's the Bible, oh my gosh, it's like read it and understand it. You wouldn't do that, would you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Grandchildren, I gotta ask them. So, you start out with the blocks, building blocks, and it's the alphabet, A, and then you get working the words, paragraphs, you get the idea. That's kind of how this is. So a long set would be, in this case, 24 exercises. So I'm gonna demonstrate it one time, don't fall asleep, because if I do it slow enough,
How do you get 24?
it's the components. So after 24, it goes to 48, and then 48, it goes to 108. And that's all just in this particular family, if you will. This is the Yang family, Y-A-N-G. And then there's the Chen and Wu, and each one of them have their own sets too. My music has changed. Did you notice the change? So it goes from like a lot of bells and chimes. Every minute there's like a wash or a little crash. And this is actually, like I was saying earlier, it's helping your nervous system, but it's also timing. So I can use the music, and if I want to do like a 1 breath inhale, I follow the music and then I wait to hear the little change. So this is half hour into it now, so it's gotten tribal. It sounds a little more, tribal. So that would possibly be used for a different set because the energy is different. Your nervous system is a little different. I know, Mary's giving me the look. Like, keep moving, Jim, stop talking. We know each other very well. See, it's different, it's not so tribal. But this first one is actually, we go in the sequence of what we just did with metal. It'll have like a metal tinging sound perhaps. The wood one might have more woodwind instruments or hitting wood. So that's pretty cool. That in itself is a whole practice of how to use music to change your nervous system. So this short set, 24 exercises. First 4 movements you've already done. That same thing we did. There is some repetition, but not every exercise repeats. We just did this. How'd we do? How'd I do? No. Did you stay focused or did you fall asleep? Sometimes it gets so repetitive and slow that if you don't practice it yourself, it's kind of hard to appreciate. So that's why I don't do the demonstration at first, because it's like, oh my God, can't really relate to what you're doing. But now that everybody's been doing it for like a half hour or so, it's like, you kind of get it a little bit and you saw some of the same stuff. Like at the very end, you saw me do that. Oh, that's the same, right? Usually the sets have a bit more than just that basic alphabet. Like the standing on one leg with the kicks, that's not in the beginning basic stuff. Eventually you do it, you try it. And the sets get a little more complicated. And they're designed that way. Same way like you throw somebody a book when they're first starting, throw them something that's only got like a couple words in it, and it's like, oh, that's a book. 2 words, it's like, yeah, but it's a book, you're starting to read books. So with this, it's start with the simple stuff, gets more complicated, and then by the time you get to the sets, there's some other skills you might develop in doing it. So I don't know if you picked up on, there's a little flexibility, balance, strength. To stand on one leg, that's half of its balance, the other half is strength. With this, ideally, if you could do this every day, great. You know, watch the video, watch it when I finish it and put it on YouTube and watch it on your own. If you do it every day, you will get many more benefits from doing it. If we do it twice a month, each time it's going to be kind of like an introduction. You know, it's like, oh, when did we do this again? A couple weeks ago. We got to kind of review it all again. So that's my plan. If you guys have other ideas or suggestions, you know, I'm open to it. Let me know. So let's finish it up with the very beginning breathing exercise. Because again, it's like your mind's kind of running a little bit with all this stuff. It's like, well, let's close it out. How do you close out the session? So let's go back to what we did. Feet apart, sink your hips, relax your shoulders. We're just going to do about 5 of them. Breathe in, out. Whatever tension you feel, like in your arms and shoulders, whatever thoughts, like, oh my gosh, a lot of information, just try to let it go out with each of the exhales. So there's the build up, and then the release. Build up, release. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. And then if we want to put the icing on the cake, we would again do this. Stretch the neck, breathe in. Down and out. To the right. Down and out. Straight up. Straight down. Feel the tension just for a second. Locking, knees and elbows, and then relax the knees and elbows.